The Airbnb business model is easy to respect. The platform has provided a way for anyone with an extra room or extra property to make additional income.
And as a guest, I feel thankful that I have access to spaces that I can select according to my own preferences that feel like a home away from home.
In 2019, I was able to travel Europe and visit countries for months at a time, making the most of longer stay Airbnb discounts, resulting in being able to live affordably while managing a digital nomad lifestyle.
I was able to observe what made an Airbnb stand out, and my appreciation for the short-term rental industry saw me take my passion for Airbnbs a step further by creating a series on my channel where I profile unique Airbnb stays. And I will make sure to link that series for you in the description below so you can check it out after this video.
This video is for new hosts looking to make extra income by listing a space on Airbnb.
I believe I've been able to identify key reasons why some Airbnbs are fully booked and why other Airbnbs struggle to gain occupancy.
Perhaps you are able to skim through the points and check them off with a smile on your face, or perhaps you find that you are being challenged in something that I mentioned, which could create room for perhaps some thought before proceeding and listing your space.
So if you're ready to jump into the first point, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up. Let's get straight into it.
Interior design spelled backwards is neat and neutral.
I've observed that you don't necessarily have to have the newest, biggest, grandest building on the block to have a successful Airbnb business.
In fact, you could have a cottage nestled in nature that is somewhat rustic on the outside and still be booked up months in advance.
But if the insides are tired, don't even bother listing your space.
Keep your interior design simple, fresh, and impersonal. Avoid personal photographs on the walls as you want the guest to feel at home, not in your home.
And also, art is subjective, so unless you're trying to make a statement or appeal to a specific group of people, less is more.
When it comes to the walls, white paint allows for natural light to ricochet off the enclosed areas. Consider adding mirrors to make the space feel larger. They also help the light bounce around the room, which is particularly helpful during the photography phase if you are taking the pictures of the Airbnb yourself.
And on the topic of photography, guys, Airbnb is visual, so it might be a good idea to spend a little bit extra just to hire professional photographers to take great photos of your space, because after all, that's what people first see. And your write-up, yeah, that's helpful, I guess, but your photos are at the end of the day what makes somebody decide whether they want to stay or whether they want to look further and consider other Airbnbs in your area. And don't get me wrong, you don't have to go ahead and create an all-white museum. Feel free to add pops of color that match the tone of your surroundings.
But generally speaking, neutral items could be a safer choice as they are often easier to replace than colorful one-of-a-kind additions. Whites may be difficult to clean, but the atmosphere it adds to any space, even small spaces, makes it difficult not to consider it.
I have seen, and I quite like Airbnbs who have used accent walls to introduce a pop of color into their Airbnbs. So if all of your walls are white and you want to have one dark wall or one wall that introduces that pop of color, but you tie everything together with neutral furniture, then you should be okay.
Also note that small spaces can be made to feel larger by using furniture that looks light and that you can see through rather than blocking out visual space. And if your room, apartment, or home is older, freshen up the interior with elements of modern touches. A new lamp, crisp carpets, and plants all add to what could be a dull room.
And on the topic of plants, if you're planning to buy fake plants, go ahead and ask your family and friends to give you their input whether the plants actually pass the test and if they should in fact be an addition to your space, because fake plants that look really fake can make an Airbnb seem pretty cheap. And don't forget to focus on the key rooms, which from my research and from my personal preference are the bedrooms, the bathrooms, and the kitchen. Let's talk about the bedrooms quickly. Now, personally, I cringe when the linen on the bedding is not of great quality.
It's a giveaway that you're trying to save a buck if you choose cheap linen. At least for the main bedroom, invest in bedding that you would want to pay to sleep in. If you have sleeper couches or options for additional sleeping arrangements, it's understandable that those options may not be A grade, but don't skimp on the main bedroom. It's not worth it.
Now remember, a lot of people chose your Airbnb because they were interested in exploring the surroundings of your area. So when it comes to them actually spending time in your Airbnb, you want to give them the opportunity to make their sleeping or their resting time truly memorable.
Here's a pro tip. Because so many people are now working from home, a midweek space has become increasingly popular because rates may be lower. I've seen some Airbnbs incorporate a work from home nook into their homes. Ignore this if you're wanting people to stay for a short time only, but this extra little touch increases the value of a space that I would personally rent. Number 2, ordinary is overrated.
You may have been able to check the box of interior design, but if your Airbnb is not unique, you lose out on the power of word-of-mouth marketing. So you want an Airbnb that is shareable, and this means that your Airbnb has to be different, but also it helps if you have a story behind your Airbnb as well.
Again, I've seen Airbnbs that are affordable builds, but because of their classy insides and premium positioning, they still classify as unique as they are situated in places that inspire the imagination. For example, if you are situated on top of a mountain or nestled in a cave or in a tree, your space is already unique. What also seems to be trending right now is unique builds like tree houses, domes, airstreams with personalities, tiny homes, or even glamping sites.
If you're competing with Airbnbs in your area that are of the same size or of similar design to yours, then you need to think of something that's unique that will get people talking about your Airbnb. The last thing you want to do is spend money on a marketing campaign. This is the first indication that your Airbnb is not worth talking about. Here's a top tip. If you're unsure whether your Airbnb is worth the hype that you think it is, perhaps consider collaborating with a local influencer and offer them a free night stay at your Airbnb and ask them to share their experience with their following. Now, if they decline this invitation, then that may be an indication to you that your Airbnb is not as shareable as you may think it is.
Number 3, abundance mentality wins every time.
Airbnb hosts who go the extra mile for their guests are the Airbnbs that ultimately obtain return guests, but as well as gain guests who recommend them.
As with other businesses, repeat customers are what make a great business.
Small things go a long way. When my husband and I booked an Airbnb for a month, this one host, they were so amazing. They actually filled the Airbnb with a variety of spices,
which was thoughtful, as the last thing you think about shopping for when traveling is spices. This made cooking a delight.
Other Airbnbs include coupons or vouchers to restaurants or tours that helped us decide what we wanted to do.
Also, some places partnered with surrounding wine farms so that we were welcomed with some wine to enjoy on the first night of our stay.
My favorite was an Airbnb experience we had when my husband actually booked a stay for us for our first anniversary, and he forgot to actually let the host know why he was booking. So when we arrived at the place, we mentioned, it's our anniversary, and the host was like, what? No, I didn't know. And she asked us to quickly get our luggage from the car and poured us a glass of wine, told us to just sit down in the lobby and wait for her. And eventually, when she allowed us into the space, oh my goodness, she just bedazzled it in a way that will always be locked in my mind and in my heart. It's an Airbnb experience that I will never forget and always rave about. But not everything has been positive. Here's an experience that I'll share with you that was a little bit awkward. So my husband and I, we booked an Airbnb that, on paper, it just looked grand, it looked lovely, and our intention was to book a place because we were going to run a marathon and we wanted to invite some friends over for breakfast after, just so that we could all celebrate the physical adventure that we put our bodies through. And we loved the pictures. It showed a beautiful breakfast nook that would just be perfect for a small group of people to enjoy breakfast after a run. So when we arrived at the Airbnb the night before the run, we just told the host about our plans to have 2 friends over for breakfast. And the host cut us down immediately, telling us that we're not allowed to throw any parties. And it confused us a little bit because what type of a party is a breakfast after a marathon for 4 people. The point is, we regularly visit the area and we were excited to have friends over and show them this beautiful Airbnb that we got and hopefully recommend it to them. But it was really uncomfortable because we needed to change our plans. I think the point here is let your tone and how you present your Airbnb match who you are in real life. So if somebody's going to rent your space for a week or even longer than that, and they want to have friends over to entertain them for a meal, either expressly communicate that you do not tolerate this or be a bit more chilled.
Number 4, remember the basics.
So I'm assuming that the things that I'm going to mention now are obvious, but on the odd chance that you haven't thought of them, these are the things that can make a stay really uncomfortable if you forget to include them.
Ensure that you have sufficient electrical outlets. There was once a stay where my husband and I had to tag who could power their computer or phone. Only one outlet worked and the others were damaged, and the host had not planned to have them fixed for the 3 weeks in which we had booked the space.
Seeing that at the time we were rocking a digital nomad lifestyle, this did make the stay pretty uncomfortable. And we had similar issues with Wi-Fi, but I'm not even going to get into that.
If you state that you have a washing machine, make sure it works. Again, this seems obvious, but life happens. If your washing machine is out of order and you're out of the country and able to fix the device, communicate that with your guests, especially if they've booked the space for more than a week. Be a star and provide a good hairdryer. I'm always uncertain just what the Airbnb host means by when they say that they provide a hairdryer. Usually male hosts get this wrong. Purchase one where the wattage is at least 1,500, but the closer you are to 2,000, well, this makes you a hero in my book. Clean bath or shower mats are essential.
Splishing and splashing should be for inside a bath and shower only. If guests are sliding all over the floors, it could make for a very funny story to share, but people could also get hurt. I am really confused when bath mats are not provided.
Ensure that the space smells nice or has no scent at all.
In some parts of the world, essential oils, essences, and fragrances are all of the rage right now. And sometimes these artificial scents are soft, but other times they can be quite strong and overpowering, which could make a guest feel a little bit nauseous or uncomfortable. I understand that sometimes you want to introduce a different scent into a home, especially if you're competing with a scent outside that isn't that pleasing, but try not to overcompensate with artificial scents in the home. Less is often more.
I find that open windows and fresh air are the most inviting fragrances, and anything that is too different may cause your guests to feel a little uncomfortable.
Again, if you're catering to a specific niche of people, then ditch this point. But if you are hoping that your Airbnb will be enjoyed by the general population, then a natural whiff of the outdoors is often best.
Here are my final thoughts. What I've mentioned here today are what I've personally found to be important when selecting Airbnbs to stay in, as well as identifying Airbnbs that are booked up months in advance.
There is space for everybody to list a room, an apartment, or a home on Airbnb, but that doesn't mean that everybody should. So I hope you found this information valuable, and if you have, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel if you'd like to see other episodes of Airbnbs that I will profile in the future.
I will link the playlist to unique Airbnb stays I've already profiled in the end screen for you to watch after this video.
This video scrapes the basics of what I wish people knew before they listed their properties on Airbnb. But by all means, don't be limited about what I said here today. Introduce your own personality into your Airbnb as well. So if you do plan on listing a room, a home, an apartment on Airbnb, then I wish you every single bit of success for the journey ahead. I hope that it's rewarding and financially lucrative. I'll see you in my next video, guys. Take care. Bye.